The dangers of an unregulated internet have been discussed a great deal in recent times. The government's online safety bill was supposed to help answer some of the concerns, designed to make social media and search services safer and more secure. But critics, including a sizable number on the Prime Minister's own Conservative benches, believe that the bill still doesn't go far enough in toughening the law to prevent children accessing pornography. 43 Tory MPs, including a dozen former ministers, have written to Michelle Donlan, the Culture Secretary, demanding amendments to the bill that would introduce strict age checks on social media and porn sites within 6 months. Miriam Cates is one of those MPs.
We got the government to agree to introduce senior manager liability to make sure that if tech bosses don't comply with their child safety duties, then they could face personal consequences, including potentially jail time. But just this week, a shocking report by the Children's Commissioner has been published that shows that the devastating impacts of online pornography on children and young people. And at the moment, there are some provisions in the bill to stop young people seeing pornography, but they're not anywhere near strong enough. And it could potentially take years before the secondary legislation is written and in place that would protect young people.
So what do you want the bill to say now? Because it's had quite a rocky ride, hasn't it? It's been around and in progress for a pretty long time. And
it has. And yes, one of the biggest harms to children online is viewing pornography, not just for themselves, but in terms of consequences for the rest of the society, violence against women and girls. And so what we want is for the government to strengthen the age verification standards that are going to be in the bill and use age verification standards that have actually already been agreed in the Digital Economy Act, which was never implemented.
And when you talk about age verification limits, is this trying to stop certain children of a certain age even having access to this online material? Just explain it a bit more clearly for people that maybe haven't been following every twist and turn of this bill.
So at the moment, one section of the bill deals with pornography sites, so dedicated adult sites where you should already have to be 18 to go on those sites. But the verification process are very weak, and we know plenty of children go on those sites. So one of the things that the bill aims to do is to put proper age verification on those sites. So you'll have to prove your age in order to be able to get onto them. So a bit like if you want to go into a nightclub, you have to prove your age. But the other thing is that at the moment, the bill treats pornography on dedicated adult sites differently to pornography on user-to-user sites, on social media platforms. And shockingly, in the Children's Commissioner's report, it shows that the most common place for children to encounter pornography is actually Twitter. What we want the government to do in the House of Lords is to create a definition for pornography that applies across the internet and, in fact, corresponds with what's legal and illegal offline as well, so on DVDs and videos and things like that. The government and Michelle Donlan, they want this bill to do as much as possible to protect children. But the problem at the moment is that we've got regulations offline that are pretty strict about pornography, but they're just not matched online in the bill. We need to do it now. I mean, this report by the Children's Commissioner just shows the kind of harms that children are experiencing, the kind of behaviours that it's leading to. We can't wait another 2 or 3 years for children to be protected from those things.
And what about people around Rishi Sunak who might say to you, look, you're making life even more tricky for him. He's got quite a lot on at the moment.
Well, look, we support the online safety bill. We want it to happen. We've always been clear that this is not about rebellion. This is about scrutinising the legislation and making sure that it is fit for purpose. And I think, the more we see about what children access online and the impact that it's having on their lives, whether that's self-harm material, whether that's pornography, violence, all these kind of things, we have got to sort it out and we've got to do it quickly. And, the government will be rewarded by the general public if they do make sure this bill works. And the worst thing possible would be to spend all this time and all this effort putting through an incredibly complex bill and then for it not to take effect for 2 or 3 years and then not to be strong enough.
When you say the government will be rewarded, do you think that this is maybe something that might persuade an individual to vote Conservative if they were wavering? Because obviously that's the big debate at the moment, the way that the polls are looking.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, that would be nice. But what I mean is that this is popular amongst the public. The public wants children to be protected online. They want stronger provisions. And I don't think anyone will thank us for bringing in a bill that doesn't do what it needs to do to protect children.